Dear friends, I am glad to welcome you to the channel Artificial Intelligence for Housewives. Today is August 30th, summer ends and listeners and viewers share with me interesting finds. What happens in the world? How many cases are tested? Here is the site I usually use. Statistics. For example, Canada. Here is Canada, the beautiful country I live in. 30 million people live in Canada. 9,164 people died. Because of this, many businesses and service sectors are closed. Universities have announced that there will be 2-semester courses on the internet. Schools, instead of starting training as usual in September, postponed the beginning of the school year by 2 weeks. It is not known in what formats the education will be conducted in public schools. And this keeps teachers and children and parents in a nervous state, who do not know how they will spend the working year and when the normal teaching process will begin. It naturally strains and affects everyone's condition. These are 9,164 deaths. Of course, we understand that these people left because of this disease, but the negative effect of quarantine exceeds the disease itself at times. Because of this, practically the whole life of the country has been paused. Perhaps it seems to someone that these are adequate measures and someone does not agree that protection against coronavirus looks to me like an operation to collapse economic systems in almost all countries of the world. The highest number of deaths, 183 in America. In India it is 3 times less. There are 117 deaths in Russia, which is 5 times less. Someone is trying to convince me that this is because Russia provides statistics incorrectly. I will show you the statistics in the USA. The number of deaths in each state varies greatly. Here are the latest statistics for 1,000 people. There are 6 deaths in this state. Arizona 70 deaths. California 32. 5 times more. In Texas 43. In Florida 52. I don't have a map of where the Democrats rule and where the Republicans are. The statistics depend on which party's governors rule. There are accusations against the states, where the Republicans are in power, that the statistics are not accurate. You see, Maine state, which is closest to Canada, has only 9 deaths per 1,000 people, and New York has 282. These are very uneven statistics. Here we see statistics for different countries. There is an epidemic curve in Russia. Here is Bloomberg positioning news with coronavirus. News yesterday that there are about 6 million cases in America. India is increasing the number of cases. There were protests against quarantine in Berlin. We understand that many people in countries have begun to understand that what is happening around the virus is not due to the fact that the government is trying to protect the population, but to the fact that the government is clearly obeying someone's instructions, the task of leaving people at home and as much as possible a long time to stretch the process of returning people to normal life. And in many cases they say that there will be no normal life. Masks called muzzles. Social distancing, which in schools and universities leads to a catastrophic effect on the psyche of people. Here's an article by the Ron Paul Institute that college students in America are going through a very serious psychological experiment. Specific colleges are named: Duke University, Syracuse University, the University of Texas, where such draconian measures have been introduced that instead of studying, students are in a state of mental pressure. That is, the impact on the society, closed churches in which social distancing is introduced. Schools in which it is impossible to return to normal studies. All this suggests that the owners of money are conducting a serious social experiment. I continue to assert that there is a transition to a new technological order, to a new economy. Earlier this was done through wars. First and Second World Wars. Cold War. They were all connected with the fact that the crisis of capitalism reached the limits of what could not be solved by peaceful means. This time it is happening by a pandemic. This is not a conspiracy theory, it is a conspiracy practice. Professionals began to wake up too. In one of my video episodes, I talked about a conference of Honest America's frontline doctors who held a press conference on the steps of the Congress, where they talked about their thoughts on this matter. 2,000 specialists and virologists, mainly from Germany and Austria, have come together and created an association to expose what is happening in different countries and in the information space. They ask to disseminate this information, call on all honest doctors in the world to join them. They are sure that the vaccine is harmful, prohibitions are useless and professionals need to intervene to stop this. I invite everyone who is interested in this to distribute this information. Because the media or mass disinformation media belong to the globalists. Yesterday in Berlin there was a meeting, quite numerous. John F. Kennedy's son Robert Kennedy performed there. You probably know that John F. Kennedy was assassinated precisely because he advocated America's independence from global money lenders. In addition, there is one story about what happened in Germany. There is an interesting picture where you see Vladimir and Donald and a dove of peace, which holds the letter Q in its beak. This letter symbolizes an operation against the deep state. Information appears that court cases are being opened. A legal investigation was recently opened against Soros. In addition, Operation Q is connected with the disclosure of trafficking in persons and children. A huge number of children do disappear in America. Now, in connection with the development of the industry of changing internal organs, it is often children who are stolen. People in Berlin made a strong enough demonstration against what is associated with quarantine until the resignation of the government. Many of you are aware that Merkel is the representative of the globalists. Lately a lot of refugees have been allowed into Germany. In Germany, the elite is filled with gay men. And all this cannot but strain normal sane people who would like to see a future for themselves and for their children. And so they set out. Save us. Free us. Russia, friendship. After the unification of West and East Germany, Germany received an infusion of East Germans that were formerly in Prussia. And the conversation continues about the unification of Russia and Germany and Russia, about the unification of the industrial potential and the industrial potential of the Russian Federation. But for now this is out of the realm of dreams. And the reality is that in Japan the Prime Minister has resigned. It is a serious indicator of the sentiment that occurs at the level of globalists in power in different countries of the world. As we understand it, the global elites or the masters of money are the masters of the printing press of the Federal Reserve. America's debt, which has grown exponentially over the past 10 years. And during the pandemic, $16 trillion were printed and they were launched in various ways into circulation, issued to the population, loaned to other countries that did not have enough, which do not have a printing press. The two largest dollar holders are China and Japan. Therefore, one theory as to why the trade war between the two with two superpowers, America and China, has emerged is that China, which holds the dollars, wants America to pay its debts. Suppose that Donald Trump comes for a second term in the White House, there is every reason for this. We can assume that he will continue his isolationist policy, close America, and renounce all international corporate agreements. He has already left because of the Atlantic Alliance. Left the Parisian Accord and will continue to do so, because America physically will not be able to pay off the debts that the globalists have built up. Naturally, China does not agree with this, so that America would refuse to pay on its debts and switch to another currency. This is happening because cryptocurrency is starting to sound in many financial documents and international banking organizations. It is necessary to show this map of the distribution of Chinese technologies for observing people. I want to show how it is distributed around the world. Red China and blue America. Russia, India, and China, practically all of Europe, Australia, Brazil, America have mixed technologies. Therefore, assuming that on the surface of information flows we see a trade war. In reality, Chinese and American technologies are very much mixed. Only prosperous Canada has only American-made observation devices. We in Canada use only American technologies. In conclusion, I want to say that Trump's election campaign is very serious. A meeting of two parties has now taken place. The Democratic and Republican parties have formally nominated their candidates for President of America and Vice President. As expected, Biden nominated a black woman. It is the policy of transhumanists who, from my point of view, are working against the white nation, the white race. And in America more and more people understand what is happening. And recently, after the Vice President's visit to Minnesota, 6 mayors of the state's largest cities signed an official document supporting Trump. Although they originally belonged to the Democratic Party. That is, it is clear that the Democrats are losing ground, and the Republicans are gaining more and more weight. All this orgy around the virus and all these draconian measures will continue until Trump comes for a second term in the Oval Office. That's something that can give hope, because Trump is an anti-vaccine. I heard that in 2016, when he was chosen, he began investigating the activities of pharmaceutical companies that produce the vaccine. He has an injured grandson in his family. Trump is married 3 times, he has 5 children. 4 of them are present in political life. The youngest son is still small. All this gives me hope that Trump is really conservative and less susceptible to the temptation of the huge profits that pharmaceutical companies, insurance companies have. Everything that is not covered by regulatory documents, for example, to social distancing, if someone gets sick, these passports will be introduced. The insurance industry will do this, and it is even more corrupt. Probably less than a bank, but nonetheless. Fines, insurance. Already it comes to court, and even in Canada for violating quarantine, you have the danger of receiving a fine of $750,000 or 3 years in prison. It can become a criminal record in your biography if you do not follow the quarantine rules. Therefore we will come out by September, and this month will show us an even greater intensity of the struggle between globalists and isolationists. And you and I understand that everyone participates in this information flow. Yesterday I recorded a video called The Sacred War of Meanings or the Cognitive Colonization of the Future. I got a lot of feedback. I will continue to write down the theme of the Holy War, because I understand that there is a war going on for the meanings of the future. Many people are still sleeping, many people are zombified, like bio-robots. People who live in their comfort zone, but more and more people are waking up. I ask you. If your loved ones react to my videos negatively, if you are criticized, ostracized, then it is better not to do this. You know that the main thing is peace of mind. And we together, increasing our awareness, increasing our energy and vibrations, will help our loved ones understand that the world is changing. It becomes different, and we will no longer live according to the scenario according to which we lived before. And we have to write the new script ourselves. I wish you all the best. Have a good end to summer, a joyful meeting with school days. With you was the traditional grandmother of the digitized world. See you soon.